hine matov. Yanana umanai. Yanana shevet achim. Shevet achim gam yachad. Yanana hine matov. Yanana umanai. Yanana shevet achim. Shevet achim gam yachad. Let's light up the world, oh brothers and sisters, together with peace and love. Bring light to the world, oh sisters and brothers, and sing Hinei Matov. Yanana Hinei Matov. Yanana umanai. Yanana shevet achim. Shevet achim gam yachad. Let's light up the world, oh brothers and sisters, together with peace and love. Bring light to the world, oh sisters and brothers, and sing Hinei Matov. Amar Rabbi Akiva Zeklal Gadol Batorah. 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 V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-da-da, 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 whoa. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-da-da, 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 whoa. Amar Rabbi Akiva Zeklal Gadol Batorah. Amar Rabbi Akiva Zeklal Gadol Batorah. V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha.
Hello and welcome, everyone, and thank you, Jason, for that performance. My name is Carrie Lachenbach, and I'm the Chair Emeritus of the Jewish Federation of Greater Hartford's Board of Directors. Thank you for joining us for our 2020 annual meeting. In 1871, one of Greater Hartford's most famous citizens, anybody care to guess? Mark Twain said, "Of all the beautiful towns it has been my fortune to see, this is the chief." I think we would all agree that the Hartford region is beautiful, but a community's values are even more important because they reflect our inner beauty. Our Jewish community, especially over the last 6 months, has shown the very best of human nature and our tradition. Tonight, we celebrate not only the Federation, but our entire Jewish community as we look back on our accomplishments and prepare to meet continued challenges. To meet these challenges, we need not just your support, but your active participation. In that vein, we have launched and are expanding a variety of initiatives, including Dignity Grows, Jesse's Community Gardens, the Jewish Leadership Academy, Destination Hartford, and Momentum. Tonight's meeting is designed to encourage your feedback and ideas about our path forward. I guarantee that you will find our guest speaker, author and TED presenter Lior Zoref, coming to you from Israel, where it is now now it's 1 o'clock. With Lior's help, one of the most original and compelling thinkers you have ever heard. With Lior's help, live from Israel, we will harness your best ideas for meeting current needs and making this community even stronger. All right, it's now 5 after 7, and I'd like to call our meeting to order. And now let's hear from Carolyn Gitlin, our terrific chair of the board.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome and thank you for being with us this evening. It has been a humbling experience to be your chair of the Federation Board over the last year. I have been amazed and extremely moved by the power of the collective of our community. Who could have anticipated what we have been living through over the past 6 months? I stood before you a year ago, June, and talked about my top 3 priorities. I talked about working collaboratively with our partner agencies, leading our federation with a focus on impact, and communicating our incredible work on a regular basis. When I spoke to you a year ago, I could never have anticipated how important these priorities would be in supporting our community during a global pandemic. We could never have anticipated a new set of emergency community needs and priorities. Our shift in focus and pace at which we mobilize should make this whole community proud. We partnered and collaborated with the Jewish Community Foundation, JFS, and the Mandel JCC to feed hundreds, raise nearly $1 million for the Rapid Relief and Recovery Fund, help provide PPE, assist synagogues, and ensure the viability of our agencies. For all that we have accomplished, it is truly powerful and moving. I am a lifelong resident of this community, and I always knew it was a special Jewish community. But now I have a firsthand experience. I have so many stories that I could share that speak to the thousands of acts of kindness that take place every day in our community. When I heard one of these stories, I cried. It is so uplifting and beautiful. The Federation had put together a group of volunteers to make phone calls to homebound seniors in the beginning of COVID-19. One volunteer shared that the elderly woman she had called had expressed how hard it was to be isolated. What she missed most was seeing smiles on children's faces and her own grandchildren. Most people would have comforted her on the phone and moved on, and it was a mitzvah. But not this volunteer. This volunteer literally dropped the phone, grabbed her 3 small children, put them in the car, drove over to the woman's home, and stood in her driveway so that she could see the smiles on her children's faces. People in our community have huge hearts. This story is just one of hundreds that I could tell you, and it demonstrates the power of the collective. Now, it is my pleasure to be able to thank our Federation team. First, I want to thank David Warren, our CEO. This marks David's first full year here, and what a year it has been. The community, David, is so lucky to have you lead our Federation, and I am truly lucky to have you as my partner. David, your commitment to this community and your wisdom have set the foundation and the tone that it has made everything possible that we do. I also want to thank all of the Federation professionals. You have worked so hard over the last year. We could not have made collectively an impact without any of you. Thank you on behalf of all of us. And tonight, I get the opportunity to congratulate professionals who have reached a milestone. Congratulations to Jennifer Schwartzman, our Director of Community Connections, who is celebrating her 5th year of being part of the Federation team. I also want to thank and express our gratitude to our 2 Israeli young emissaries, Michal and Shaked, who gave their hearts to this community. For all of you who know them, you know they have the biggest smiles and so much warmth. So many families and children just adore them. They did have to go back to Israel early due to the pandemic, but they have stayed in touch with our community through Zoom, and they wanted to share a little of their thoughts tonight with you. So please, next we will hear from Michal and Shaked.
Shalom, Greater Hartford community.
We miss you so much.
And would like to thank you for the most meaningful year we ever had.
During this year, we had the opportunity to meet all of you through schools, through Hebrew schools, through synagogues, through community events.
And every child we met and every parent we talked to became a living bridge between us, Israel, and you guys.
Hi, Shaked and Michal, it's Lily. I just wanted to let you guys know that I had such an amazing year with you guys, and you truly were amazing role models. I miss you so much, and I hope to see you next year. We
are so excited to be part of our country and to contribute as much as we can.
And we will bring our shlichut back to the army.
We hope to see you soon.
Bye bye.
Tonight, we also honor leaders who have passed away during the past year. I would like to take a moment to remember several. Lawrence Brick served on the board and finance committee, as well as our campaign cabinet. He was a life community trustee. Melvin Gerald served on our board and campaign cabinet. John Sussman was a longtime community leader who served on our board and was campaign chair from 1980 to 1981. Bernice Veroff chaired our women's division for 2 years, and she established the Business and Professionals Women Division to support women in their careers. Bernice was a life community trustee. And Frances Weiner was a board member and community life trustee. She campaigned tirelessly for Federation, and in recognition of her work, Frances and her husband Solon received the first ever Bernard Waldman Campaign Award. May their memories be a blessing. Before I turn the meeting over to David and show a short clip to preview our keynote presentation, I want to thank all of you, our friends, volunteers, generous donors, and business partners. We have an unbelievable community. I am confident that we will successfully navigate during these challenging times, and we will emerge even stronger.
Hello to the Jewish Federation of Greater Hartford. My name is Itai. I'm from Moshav Sarona, from the Seven Springs Farm. It's in the Lower Galilee, in the northern Israel. It's not Hartford, but it's beautiful. You might ask yourself why there are so many cows behind me, and how does it relate to you? I will see you later and you will understand.
Good evening. Grabbing life by the horns is the theme of this annual meeting, and it's a fitting description on many levels. With Rosh Hashanah around the corner, the ram's horn, the shofar, is of course the quintessential symbol of the holiday. It also relates to Lior Zoref, our speaker tonight, and the power of collective intelligence. As Lior likes to say, we are stronger than me. And that indeed is the theme of this past year, the impact that we have all had together, Federation, foundations, synagogues, agencies, and the broad community, as we have met the challenges of this past year. And yet, the crisis continues to unfold. New York Times columnist David Brooks wrote the following as the pandemic began. Some disasters, like hurricanes and earthquakes, can bring people together. But if history is any judge, pandemics generally drive them apart. For most of us, this is the most uncertain period we have ever experienced. We're uncertain about our health, the economy, the very fabric of our society. And yet, in this community, the evidence is clear. Far from driving us apart, the pandemic is truly revealing our better angels. We are taking control of our lives, and we are taking care of each other in visible ways and, as Carolyn said, in thousands of acts of kindness and caring every day. With individuals and institutions rendered vulnerable almost overnight, the Federation and Foundation have raised almost $1 million for rapid relief and recovery. Thousands of meals have been delivered, now in partnership with our colleagues at Jewish Family Services. Financial aid has been provided for the newly unemployed. Hundreds of thousands of dollars have been earmarked through a joint Federation Foundation grant process for our agencies and synagogues to sustain operations, offer scholarships, pay for supplies, and facilitate services during the upcoming holidays. As many experience financial setbacks, a brand new Federation-managed Jewish Free Loan Fund is now being established. The fund will provide interest-free loans to those in need, giving not just a handout, but a hand up with dignity. As the loans are paid back, money will be lent out again, ensuring the fund's permanency and continual impact. Social distancing and other restrictions have especially impacted our children. With that in mind, we are proud to have supported the Mandel JCC and Camp Gan Israel as they have run camps safely this summer, allowing campers to grow and giving parents a critical break. JT Connect has also been very creative in engaging our region's teams in online activities. As schools shuttered across the country in March, our partners at the New England Jewish Academy and Solomon Schechter didn't miss a beat, transitioning to comprehensive online learning and now reopening safely and effectively. And our colleagues at Voices of Hope and at Hillel's around the state are also transitioning seamlessly to engage their students. Moreover, hundreds in our community with developmental disabilities continue to thrive thanks to the work of JCL, the Jewish Association for Community Living, and Friendship Circle. And with seniors and others increasingly alone, an army of volunteers has been making phone calls and conducting virtual check-ins to break the isolation and address unmet needs. Leadership and staff at Hoffman Summerwood and Hebrew Senior Care have continued to provide excellent care despite enormous health and safety challenges. Through our Federation network and our international partners, your support has literally helped hundreds of thousands of Jews in need in Israel and around the world this year. Again, the power of the collective. And that power of the collective extends beyond our Jewish community in Greater Hartford, with Federation-sponsored programs like Dignity Grows and increasing efforts to combat bigotry and build bridges of understanding across the region. This unprecedented crisis has brought forth an unparalleled response. All of this and more is only possible because this community has come together, the power of the collective, to raise over $4.6 million from both our annual campaign and restricted revenue, and over $950,000 for COVID-19 relief. That's more than this community has raised in many, many years. This is also now a time for innovation. In the coming year, as we have witnessed rising anti-Semitism and hate crimes targeting Jews across the country, we will be launching a new community-wide initiative to bolster security at our synagogues and our agencies. And we are launching what we are calling for now Education Reboot to ensure best-in-class Jewish education in every Hebrew school. We are also capitalizing on the fact, in the wake of COVID-19, that many are seeking to move from New York City and other areas. We will be launching Destination Hartford, a new program to market the benefits of this amazing Jewish community and encourage newcomers with job networking, service referrals, and opportunities to get involved. Since the Federation was founded in the mid-1940s, we have faced and met many crises, including wars that threatened the existence of Israel, the persecution of Soviet refuseniks, emergency airlifts of Ethiopian Jews, and severe economic recessions. Never have we faced a public health and economic emergency like this. Every individual, every family in this community has been impacted, and we don't know when it will end. What we do know, what we can control, is how we respond. Our collective resources, intelligence, willpower, and generosity are making a profound difference. These are indeed sobering times, but our response has not and will not be to shrink from our responsibilities. It is times like these that demonstrate how utterly indispensable Federation and the Foundation are to the quality of life in our community. We is indeed stronger than me, and we can only do it in partnership with you. Now, please welcome Lee Newman, Chair of the Foundation's Board of Trustees.
Thank you, David, and good evening to you all. I'm pleased to be able to take a few minutes to give you a report on the activities of the Jewish Community Foundation over the last year or so. By looking at the numbers, we had really a terrific year. We brought in over $7 million in new funds and donations to the foundation, including a new custodial relationship with the Shoki JFS in Fairfield County. We granted close to $4.5 million from all of our funds, over $1 million of which came back to the Federation, either to the annual campaign or by direct funding of Federation programs, and another $2 million of that amount went to other Jewish institutions in our community. Our investment portfolio continues to perform well, and at last peak was at about $130 million, which is such a credit to our strong investment team because it's been a little challenging over the last few months. In addition, during this time, we adopted a new strategic plan to guide our work over the next several years, focusing primarily on increasing our impact in the community through such vehicles as improving our stewardship of donors, by building on the progress we've made in our collaborative efforts with the Federation, and gearing our development focus to testamentary and plan giving as new ways to complementary ways for our donors to fulfill their vision and to support our community. And if that's all I had to tell you, I would have thought it was a pretty good year. But the backdrop, as you all know, was our world changed about 6 months ago. And it was just a pleasure, and I had so much pride in watching the way our staff at the foundation responded. As we like to say, we are a small but mighty staff of 11, headed by our CEO, Jacob Schreiber, who really turned on a dime and went immediately into working remotely without dropping a beat. Our grants continued to go out. We still were supporting our donors. Many of our staff were starting to jumped into jobs that were not part of their original job description, like delivering food. It was just a pleasure to watch how the staff reacted to the necessities of the time. We were proud to make the initial $100 seed grant to the Rapid Relief and Recovery Fund, and it's been just our honor to be partners with the Federation in the fundraising effort that raised about $800,000 to support agencies and humanitarian purposes, in addition to the $175 for the Jewish Free Loan Fund, which is starting up, as David mentioned. Sorry, 175,000. My kibitzer is telling me. It has been. It's been quite a year. Our staff has been amazing. Our board has been patient. We've had probably twice as many board meetings this year as any meeting in the past. But I am proud to say the work we have done has made our community stronger. On a personal note, this will be my last report. Giving like this, I am passing the gavel to Gail Temkin next week. But it's been an honor to serve in this position, to do my little bit to make this community better. And I thank you for the opportunity. And I believe, Carrie, I'm turning it back to you.
Thank you, Lee. You indeed have made the community better. Your leadership, along with Jacob Schreiber's, has been critical in strengthening our collaboration with the foundation over the last year. The current members of our board of directors, Lee included, have contributed so much to our success over the past year. Although the following directors' terms are coming to an end, I know they will continue to have an impact far into the future. I'll call their names and then we'll applaud them all together. Our outgoing directors are Kathy Fishman, Rona Golub, Jonathan Hoffman, Lee Newman, Greg Patchen, and Richard Rubenstein. Thank you so much. Federation's Governance Committee prepares the slate of nominations for our Board of Directors, Officers, Life Community Trustees, and Community Trustees. At this time, I'd like to present the Governance Committee's report for a vote. Oh, there we go. Our new nominees for Life Community Trustee are Stacy Narenstone and Morton Weinstein. Our new nominees for Community Trustee are Garrett Fishman and Mindy Glickman. Those being nominated as Community Trustees for a third term are Victor Bernstein, Rona Golub, and Ann Badek Pava. Those being nominated as Community Trustees for a second term are Todd Berman, Katie Feinberg, Anna Huttner, Daniel Kaufman, Lois Siegel, and Tracy Tabak. Those being nominated as new members of the Federation Board of Directors are Michael Cantor, Garrett Fishman, Mindy Glickman, and Pava. Directors being nominated for a second term are Ben Adler and Stephen Robb. In addition, David Rosenthal is being nominated for a third term, Ted Zablotsky is being nominated for a fourth term, and Cyril Sheldon is being nominated for a fifth term on the board. Now I have some nominees for officer. I'd like to nominate Dana Keller for a one-year term as first vice chair. After she serves this year-long term, Dana will become our new chair of the board. Very, very, very exciting. Finally, I'd like to nominate the following individuals as officers for a two-year term. David Rosenthal as Vice Chair of Planning and Community Impact, Cyril Sheldon as Assistant Secretary, and Ted Zablotsky as Secretary. And now it's time to vote on the governance slate. everyone to place your vote, raise your hand, and say aye for yes.
Aye.
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 Nay for no, or sit quietly. I don't hear any of that. Okay.
Excellent.
May I have a motion for approval? Someone? Everybody's muted? I guess I heard an aye. All in, well, wait a minute. So what's happening here?
Yeah, and you also be able to see how many people are.
So moved. So moved.
So moved. There we go. Mazel tov to all of our new and returning leaders. Yay, everyone. Now it's my pleasure to call on Eric Zaks.
Yeah, no, I know.
Henry.
That's like, you have to like
Zach.
work.
Okay. Wow. Well, thank you so much, Carrie. It's a great honor for me to be able to present the Henry Zaks Spirit of Judaism Award, recognizing an unsung professional and layperson in our community. This award was started 6 years ago in honor of my dad's 80th birthday, and happy to say that in 9 days he will be 86, and as many of you know, going as strong as ever. This year, I mean, we live in an incredible community, and frankly, this year the award could have been given to every professional and layperson in our community. It's incredible as everyone has stepped up. But we have two incredible nominees who have been chosen from a very, very extensive nomination process. In both cases, they've had incredible mentors, and that's my message to all of us. Be a mentor. Take someone under your wing. The gift keeps on giving for generations. It's how each of us are really here today. Remember those mentors in your life and do that for someone else. First off, it's my honor to recognize Maya Schwartz from Nija, who was nominated by Rabbi Silver for the Professional Award. Frankly, this year is the year of the teacher. Teachers have stepped up in so many incredible ways, but Maya has really gone above and beyond. As Rabbi Silver says, for the last 40 years and 28 years in this community, her students have been Maya-sized. And frankly, many of them now, she is teaching the next generation. And in this time of Rosh Hashanah, a time of renewal, Maya has not stood on her laurels. Every year, she is renewing, coming up with new material, new ways to teach, whether it's in kindergarten and high school. She has spanned the entire range of education in our community. And she motivates by being fresh, by being exciting, and by constantly showing how she loves them all. Each age has its beauty, she says, and she imparts them all with a love of Hebrew, a love of Zionism, and a love of Israel. And in fact, she taught all three of my kids, and earlier today or yesterday, she said to me, I remembered exactly where each of them sat in her classroom. And that's the beauty. The gift of love with Maya never stops giving. And so now it's our honor and pleasure to hear a few words from Maya.
Shalom ve'erev tov, good evening. I'm grateful, honored, and humbled to receive the Henry Zaks Spirit of Judaism Award. When Mr. Eric Zaks called, he found me at school in the middle of setting up my classroom for the start of the new school year. Hearing your voice, Eric, brought me good memories of having the honor of being Binyamin, Yaakov, and Bela's Hebrew and Judaic Studies teacher quite a few years ago. I thank the Jewish Federation of Greater Hartford not only for this award, but more importantly, for the tremendous support that it gives to the Jewish day schools. So how did I become a teacher? I was born into a family where educators were highly valued. As I was growing up, my beloved mother, Alisa Stoop, who was a devoted teacher all her life, personified the love for teaching to me. I want to thank my Rav Sheli, Rabbi Zelf Silver, for the devotion, dedication, and caring that you give to us all. I also want to thank my incredible colleagues, to my beloved family, my husband Jonathan, my children Nitai, Maureen, Adam, Gloria, and to my granddaughter Katie. Thank you for your love and support. I love you so. To my students, past, present, and future, Lechu Michael El Chail, may you go from strength to strength, ושהאור יאיר את דרככם תמיד, and may the light shine upon you always. תודה רבה, כל טוב. Thank you.
Congratulations, Maya, and thank you so much for those beautiful words. It's now the lay leader award winner is Steve Kleinman, who's been nominated by Madeline Franchese of Hebrew Senior Care. Steve has had so many mentors, starting when he was 2 years old, and his grandfather took him to synagogue and wrapped tefillin every day. Steve wanted to do it so much that his parents bought him masking tape so that he could wrap himself in tape in the morning. Later on, Steve wanted to either become a rabbi or a CPA. Well, he chose CPA, but in fact, Steve really, as you're going to hear in a second, has been the rabbi of finance to so many organizations in our community, and we are so grateful for that contribution. Steve has been the treasurer for 10 years at JFS. He's been the treasurer for 10 years at the Jewish Historical Society. He's the Jewish Community Foundation board member. At Federation, he's been on the COVID Relief Fund and Community Trustees. At the Chabad, he's a board member. He's helping out the Schechter with finance. And of course, all of his work with Hebrew Senior Care. He's also grown up in Hartford, and that love of Hartford, growing up on Kent Street and spending the holidays in Keeney Park, has carried on. And finally, his wife, Debbie, has been his truest and most notable inspiration. When asking him why he does this, he said it's not material goods that brings a meaningful life. Something everyone on this Zoom knows. It's doing the right thing, building for the future, doing the right thing. And Steve, by your example, you show us how, in your quiet and consistent way, to always do the right thing. And now it's our honor to hear a few words from Steve Kleinman.
I'm deeply honored and humbled to receive this award. I'm grateful to Eric Zaks and his family for creating an award honoring Henry Zaks, whose ancestors came from the same town in Ukraine as mine. I began to think about the many people who helped me obtain a Spirit of Judaism. Some of the most influential were my grandmother, Bubby Fox, who after a wonderful Shabbos dinner would often say to me, "Zeh a guten Yid," be a good Jew. My Rabbi Jim Rosen for teaching what it means to be a good Jew and how to live a meaningful life. George Weiss, my boss and friend, who gave more than 15,000 underprivileged children a chance to go to college. My wife, Debbie, who spent her entire life after college serving nonprofit organizations, especially those involving seniors and people with intellectual disabilities. My parents also encouraged me to be a good Jew. I wish I had more time to share about the people that impacted my Spirit of Judaism. It takes a family and a community to instill the spirit of Judaism in a person. Thank you to the Federation for honoring me, and thank you to all the organizations that allowed me to help them accomplish their mission.
Thank you so much, Steve. You are an incredible honoree, as is Maya, and we look forward to your incredible continued role in contributing to the financial health as the financial rabbi of so many organizations in our community. And now it's my pleasure and honor to introduce Lior Zoref. You know, you've heard a lot about innovation tonight, and clearly Federation is an innovative organization. Lior is going to help us over the coming years take it to the next level. He's a noted TED presenter and the author of the best-selling book, Mind Sharing. He holds a PhD in crowdsourcing from Bar-Ilan University, and before that, he worked for 14 years at Microsoft, where his last role was Vice President of Marketing for Consumer and Online Services. As you know, he lives in Israel, and it's 1:30 in the morning, but he is bright and energetic, just like it was 1:30 in the afternoon. And he's presented to many of the most innovative and influential organizations in the world, including the MIT Media Lab, Nike, and the White House. Tonight, he's going to give us a new perspective to take us to the next level on innovation, creativity, and collaboration in our own Jewish community. And as we've seen from tonight, we are one Jewish people, whether in West Hartford, Israel, or anywhere around the world. So welcome, live from Israel, Lior Zoref.
Shalom, Greater Hartford. And Eric, I need to correct you. It's not 1:30 a.m., it's 2:40 a.m., and I am alive and I am awake, and I'm actually thrilled to be here with you. I wish I could be with you in person. I heard the weather is much better than in Israel right now. But you know, this is what we have now, and we need to make the most out of it. I'm here to share with you a few insights about the power of us together, about the power of collective intelligence. But before doing that, I can see you, and you can see that I can see you. So raise your hand, wave to me so I can see you. Okay, that's great. So I see Audrey smiling with your headphones, and I can see Luis and Ben and David and Maya. That's perfect. So I want to start by asking you a question. It's a very personal question. And as I can see you, so you need to raise your hand. Do you have a dream, something that you want to do in the future, something that inspires you and even maybe make you scared? If you do have a dream, please raise your hand. Let me see you. Please raise your hand. Let me go and see more of you. Keep your hand. Tracy, I love the guitar behind you. Okay, I see about half of you raise your hand, about 50%. A few years ago, I had a dream. I shared it with my friend, and this is what it looked like.
I have a dream. איך כל אחד מהמרצים פה סיים בחלום שלו. כן. אני רוצה שאנחנו נציג בטד. לא בשנה הבאה, אולי לא בעוד שנתיים, אבל אנחנו נהיה שם על הבמה. וכשאנחנו נעשה את זה, יוסי, אתה יודע מה אנחנו נעשה? מה אנחנו נעשה? אנחנו נציג את הוידאו הזה, של יצורים ירפים, כשחלמנו להציג...
אין שום סיכוי שמישהו ייתן לנו לעלות על במה בטד, אין שום סיכוי. למה? זה עדיף שתמלא לוטו, יש לך סיכוי יותר גדול לזכות בלוטו. האמריקאי, יש לך יותר סיכוי. גם הוא אומר, אין לך סיכוי לזכות בלוטו, אין לך שום סיכוי להיות בטד.
This is my best friend. And he was making fun of me, and I was so angry. But then my friends on social networks, they saw that and did something that completely changed my life. So I like to get back to the story later. Meanwhile, a few more things about me. This is me when I was a kid. I was a geek. I'm still a geek, and I almost didn't have any friends. And I just had one friend. By the way, as you can see in the chat, I recommend going to speaker view so you can see me with the slide. Not gallery view, you see everyone, but in speaker view, you can see me with the slide. So I had just one friend from the age of 6 until we were 10, and his name was Ori. And then in the middle of the year, he stopped being my friend, and I didn't know why. So most of my childhood years, I was alone. I didn't have any friend. I had low grades, and I thought that nothing would come out of me. But as it turned out, being a geek back then wasn't so cool, but many years later, I used this geekness of me to study computer science. I worked at Microsoft for many years, and I did a PhD in the area of collective intelligence. And this session is interactive. It's not just that I'm awake in the middle of the night just for the sake of being awake. I'm going to interact with you, and we'll have a few experiments. So let me tell you the story that got me to start my research in the area of collective intelligence. It's a story about Deborah. She lives in New York, and about 10 years ago, her 4-year-old son, Leo, had fever and rash. So she took him to the hospital. The doctor checked him and told her it's probably a virus. This was way before COVID. She went out of the doctor and she had a bad feeling about it. So she took her phone, she took a picture of her son's face and posted it on Facebook. This is the real picture. And she wrote, "This is my son, Leo. He is 4 years old. He has fever and rash. The doctor said it's probably a virus. What do you think?" True story. Just 1 hour later, 3 different people told her that her son might have a very fatal and rare illness called Kawasaki disease, and this can kill him. They told her, take him immediately to the hospital. So she went to the hospital. They started checking him. They found that he was sick with Kawasaki, started treatment, and saved his life. When I heard this story, I got curious. If people can save a child's life like that, what else can we do together? Are we really stronger together? Well, the person who found out about it first was about 100 years ago. Probably you heard about it. In England, they showed an ox in a village, and they asked people, what is the ox weight? And they told them that if someone will know the exact weight, they will give them a big prize, and no one knew. Then Francis Galton took all the estimates and calculated the average, and he found that the average was the exact ox weight. And he published the first academic paper about the power of collective intelligence. Now let me ask you a question. And I'm going to ask you, and you will be able to unmute and say the answer. But do me a favor, as soon as you give your answer, mute back again. And this is the question. What is the most important thing you need to have in order to find a job, a good job? Think about it. What is the most important thing you need to have in order to find a job?
Education.
Education, experience.
Skills.
Integrity. Connections.
Who said connection?
Networking. Greg Patchen.
Networking. Mute back again.
Networking.
Exactly. Thank you. We received more than 500 estimates. Not bad. The lowest was 308 pounds. The highest was more than 8,000 pounds. Your average is 1,792 pounds. So this is your average. Let's see what's Teddy's real weight. Are you ready? Teddy's real weight is 1,795 pounds. So this is the power you have together. And there are still more ideas. See what happens just in a few minutes. How together you are smarter than alone. So this is what I'm trying to share with you. We all know that IQ is very important. Intelligence is very important. And you are very intelligent audience. So IQ is not the only important thing. We learned in recent years that there is a second kind of intelligence. And if we need to succeed, we need to have that intelligence, which is called emotional intelligence. You know that. I'm here to open the idea that there is a third kind of intelligence. And I call it your network intelligence, your NQ. And if you want to succeed as individuals and also as a community, you need in your toolbox to know when to use IQ, when to use NQ, and when to use, when to use IQ, when to use EQ, and when to use NQ. Because at the end, we are smarter than me. Or as you said it in this meeting, we are stronger together. So towards the ending of my talk, I want to go back to the story I started with. When I showed you the picture of my friend, he was my friend until we were 10 years old. And then in the middle of the year, he stopped being my friend and I didn't know why. When I published my book in the US, one day I got a Facebook message from him. He wrote to me, Lior, this is Ori, your friend. I want to meet with you. I asked him, Ori, is that you? I didn't meet you in 30 years. I didn't hear from you. He said, yes, I live in the US, in Arizona, and I want to meet with you. I was very curious to ask him, why did you stop being my friend? So we've met. And I was very fortunate because when I was doing the book launch tour in the US, with me was a group of people shooting a documentary film. And they came with me to the US, and I want to show you a short clip when I asked my friend, why did you stop being my friend?
אותך עושים עליך חרם, אבל פתאום מי שמדבר איתך, זהו, מחוץ לעניינים.
יש לי שריטה מזה. כי היית חבר יחיד שלי ונעלמת.
כן, אם רק הייתי יודע. לי עוד היו חברים אחרים, אבל לא ידעתי שאני החבר היחידי שלך.
היחידי?
אולי אף פעם לא דיברנו על זה. אם יכולתי להחזיר את זה אחורה, הייתי מחזיר את זה. אז היה לי חשוב לבוא להגיד לך את זה. אם יכולתי להחזיר את הזמן, הייתי מחזיר את הזמן, אבל להגיד סליחה תמיד אפשר.
We were sitting there just, in front of San Francisco, both of us crying. And that was the first time I understood that everyone organized a boycott on me. And I didn't know about it. Only when he said and told me that, I realized what happened. And after both of us cried, he said, will you forgive me? And I forgave him. And today we are best friends. I'm in touch with him almost every day. I love him so much. And you know that we are near Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. I'm sharing with you first that, if you have kids or grandchildren, do me a favor, make sure that there is no boycott in their school. I know that things are flexible now with schools in Greater Hartford. You don't know if schools are going to continue or not, but in any case, make sure that no one is boycotting them. And as we, after Rosh Hashanah, go to Yom Kippur, if you ever hurt someone, even if it was many years ago, try to find them and say that you apologize. You wouldn't believe what is going to happen to you and to them when you say that. Only when he asked for my forgiveness, I understood the true power of forgiveness. And I'd like to end with this picture of my daughter, Maya. I asked you in the beginning if you have a dream, and only half of you raised your hand. So this is probably the most important thing I want to share with you. For those who did not raise your hand, I understand that because, only when I was 40 years old, I allowed myself to dream. I just celebrated my 50, but only 10 years ago, I had the courage to have a big dream. It's scary, but there's nothing that replaces the feeling that you have, the spark in your eyes when you have a big dream. This could be a dream for the Jewish community. This could be the dream for yourself, for your family, for your career, whatever. I hope that you'll have the courage within you to find what is your dream. And when you do me a favor. Don't keep it just to yourself. Share it with as many people as you can, because you never know who is going to help you make your dream come true. Before COVID, when I was traveling and I met many CEOs and very successful people, I asked them, who helped you in the beginning when you needed help? Was that your strong ties or weak ties? But up to now, I heard just one answer. Always those weak ties and not our best friends. You know why? because our best friends, they love us so much, they fear that we will fail. This is so sad, because if we will not try, we will not fail and we will not succeed. So I hope that you will find your dream. You have some time now in Rosh Hashanah and during the holiday season to think and reflect on that. And do me a favor, don't, whatever it takes or how long it takes, make sure you find something that is your dream and hopefully something that can bring value to others. The state of Israel started. It all started with a dream. This is how Israel started. And Shimon Peres, of course, beloved Shimon Peres, his book, No Room for Small Dreams. Dream big, not small dreams. So before my last quote and before I end, and feel free to share with me in the chat your comments and feedback about my talk, because later I'm going back to sleep. But before ending, I want to say thank you so much for having me. It's a true honor and privilege to be with you. I met amazing people in the greater Hartford community. I wish you all the best. I wish you Shana Tova. I wish you good health. And I like to end with one last quote that for me represents the power of collective intelligence, how we are stronger together, and how we can also have big dreams together. And it's a quote by John Lennon, who said, "When we are dreaming alone, it is only a dream. When we are dreaming together, it's the beginning of reality." Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Lior. That was amazing. I must say the story that you told about you and your friend Ori is a perfect story for the High Holy Days. It's almost time to close our program.
Sorry, I think we might be forgetting something. At every annual meeting, don't we have ice cream?
Carolyn, I can't believe it. That's why we pay you the big bucks. Now that you mention it, we do. We can't have an ice cream social in person this year, but in the next couple of days, you all will receive a thank you email with a virtual coupon designed by my granddaughter, Eliana, good for one free pint of ice cream from the Crown Market. It's a gift to you from Friends of the Federation and the Crown. All you have to do is go to the Crown service desk between September 21st and October 2nd and tell them you attended our meeting, give them your name, and claim your ice cream.
Carrie, that is fantastic. We know our community loves their ice cream. And before I turn over the meeting so you can end it and lead us in a virtual l'chaim, I'd like to say to everybody on this call, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being an incredible community. And as Lior said, let's all dream big. We need to do that as a community, and let's do it together. And now, Carrie, please lead us in a virtual l'chaim.
Well, wait a minute. For some, it's virtual, but for me and Carolyn, it's real. I hope some of you others might have a glass. Everyone raise your glass, or at least Carolyn, you and I will. Raise it to all of us who make this community the remarkable place that it is. May we all continue to go from strength to strength, whatever the future may hold. L'chaim and Shana Tova. Thank you again for joining us. Our annual meeting stands adjourned.